Morning, we all have the privilege of having with us the Honorable Minister of External Affairs, Government of India, Srimati Sushma Swaraj. Madam, for us, it is always an extreme pleasure to find you at the Raisina Dialogue because you are the progenitor of this dialogue. You are the one responsible for not just initiating this forum, but you have been shepherding the Raisina Dialogue itself, and we are, in a way, all here because of you. So thank you so much. So therefore, it is absolutely in the nature of things that the first ministerial address should also be yours at the Raisina Dialogue. And as the theme of this dialogue goes, yes, we are in times of uncertainty, and given the constant, the flux of the times, the 21st century will more and more belong to the knowledge networks we create through forums like these. And therefore, the importance of this great initiative which the Ministry of External Affairs took in creating the forum, a global forum located in India. How do I introduce someone like Madam Sushma Swaraj? I mean, she has been in public life virtually all her life. 3 times elected to the Legislative Assembly, has been in Parliament 7 times, has handled all kinds of portfolios, I&B, health, in the earlier NDA government, and now Ministry of External Affairs, where she has brought a different kind of focus, a focus where we found in the last 4 or 5 years how the thrust of India's foreign policy changed to become far more engaged with the world, and more importantly, the integration of India's own domestic priorities and needs with its external affairs policy. So that was a big difference which has come. You find in India far more engaged and far more cohesively engaged with the rest of the world. And it has been done in all possible ways, in the big things as well as the small things, whether it is reaching out to the Indian diaspora, to the common public, using digital media, using transformative technologies to get through to people, and getting people involved through public diplomacy in the day-to-day business of foreign policy. So those have been tremendous stellar achievements, Madam. Thank you for distinguishing yourself also as India's first digital foreign minister. And that is the outreach which we've been speaking about. And all this has been complemented by an understanding that has demonstrated that how this role can also be carried out with firmness, efficiency, effectiveness, and yet always, with that trademark, understated charm and grace that she brings to her job, which makes her also the most loved minister. Over to you, Madam.
Thank you, Sanjay. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to once again welcome you all to the Raisina Dialogue. The inaugural session last evening, with the participation of Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Solberg of Norway, has set the stage for what I am sure will be yet another successful and productive dialogue. Friends, around 4 years ago, I recall discussing with my team at the Ministry of External Affairs the need for India to host an international platform that enables an exchange of perspectives on emerging global and regional trends. I'm happy that we found in ORF a capable and dynamic organizational partner. My felicitations to Sanjay Joshi ji and his team for taking the Raisina Dialogue to new heights each year. The level and diversity of participation and range of issues covered in each edition of the dialogue justify its position as India's flagship dialogue on geostrategic matters. Friends, I've always felt that discussions and debates on foreign policy should not remain confined to the select few, whether it is politicians, bureaucrats, or elite academia. In today's interconnected and interdependent world, foreign policy has a direct and visible impact on the daily lives and well-being of all sections of people at home. This is why these conversations need to be taken to our villages and small towns, to school classrooms, and to vernacular media outlets. This is the only way to evolve a well-informed and democratic approach to foreign policy that takes into account the voices of all stakeholders. This is the thinking behind my ministry's innovative new initiative like SAMEEP, which connects serving diplomats with their alma mater institutions and our support to think tanks and research institutions to nurture research, scholarship, and debate on foreign policy in different corners of the country. Indeed, I am happy that thanks to some innovative digital partnerships, the proceedings of the Raisina Dialogue also will not be confined to this venue, but will be shared with thousands of viewers outside. Ladies and gentlemen, when we met for this dialogue last year, we discussed disruptive transitions, including political, strategic, and economic rebalancing of the world. These disruptions and ensuing complexities are ongoing phenomena. In fact, if we step back and look at the broader picture of history, a world in flux is not an entirely new situation. The critical question is, how do we respond to these transitions? Our World Reorder this year's theme is therefore appropriate. Our focus is on finding solutions to the plethora of challenges before us through innovative approaches and dynamic partnerships. India's own engagement with the world is rooted in its civilizational ethos, which has at its heart coexistence, pluralism, openness, dialogue, and democratic values. Today, India, with 1/6 of humanity, is experiencing economic and social transformation on a scale which has rarely been seen in the history of the world. While the prosperity of Indians, both at home and abroad, and security of our citizens are of paramount importance, self-interest alone does not propel us. Through the centuries, guided by Lord Buddha's wisdom and Mahatma Gandhi's message of peace and compassion, India's strength and success has been a force for global peace, stability, and prosperity, an anchor for all-round regional and global progress. India, therefore, stands for a democratic and rules-based international order in which all nations thrive as equals. Friends, when I addressed the United Nations General Assembly for the first time in my present capacity in 2015, I spoke of the need for a transformative change which can reinvigorate the nation and enable it to play its rightful role in international affairs, while also becoming the fastest growing major economy in the world. In the past 4.5 years, this comprehensive and energetic renewal of India's global engagement has been founded on the motto of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, an emphasis on the welfare of all. There are 5 key elements of this approach, which I would like to mention here without going into too much details. First, we have rebuilt India's bridges, both literally and figuratively, with its immediate and extended neighborhood. We have devoted a much higher level of resources and attention to our neighborhood, not only when it comes to formal diplomatic engagements, but also in pushing next-generation regional connectivity and critical infrastructure, and also at times of distress and need. In particular, Prime Minister's strategic vision of Sagar has spurred a qualitative transformation in India's engagement with the Indian Ocean region in recent years. Our revitalized Act East and Think West paradigms have further broadened the reach of our strategic and economic neighborhood. At the same time, our commitment to upholding territorial integrity and sovereignty remains unwavering. Our consistent message is that unresolved border issues can be resolved bilaterally when approached in the right spirit and in an atmosphere free from violence and hostility. Second, we are shaping our relationships in a manner that synchronizes with India's economic priorities. With this diplomacy for development approach, each global interaction is now focused on building partnerships to promote our transformative flagship programs such as Make in India, Digital India, Amrit, Smart Cities, and Namami Gange. Third, we are focused on making India a human resource power to be reckoned with by connecting our talented youth to global opportunities. This is being achieved through Skill India partnerships with several countries, as well as under the aegis of the GYAN program and various private sector partnerships under Digital India. We have also made an unprecedented outreach to our diaspora across the world to tap into their skills, resources, and ideas. Friends, all this is being done with the confidence that a prosperous, better connected, and skilled young India will be the engine for growth and prosperity, not only in South Asia, but far beyond. Fourth, we are building sustainable development partnerships, stretching from the Indian Ocean and Pacific Islands to the Caribbean, and from the continent of Africa to the Americas. These initiatives have expanded, both in geographical reach and sectoral coverage, and now include lines of credit and grants, technical consultancy, educational scholarships, and a range of capacity building programs. Note that, I repeat, note that we refer to these as partnerships and not assistance. Our partnerships are consultative, non-reciprocal, and outcome-oriented. We are of the firm belief that to be truly sustainable, such regional initiatives must be based on universally recognized international norms, good governance, openness, financial viability, and transparency. Finally, we are leading the way in reconfiguring and reinvigorating global institutions and organizations, whether it is by founding the International Solar Alliance, which will benefit our energy security and also combat climate change, or our active role in humanitarian and disaster relief operations in our neighborhood, or our membership of key institutions of global governance. India is a proactive and constructive contributor to promoting and upholding global peace and security. Friends, with its unwavering belief in multilateralism, India speaks not just for itself, but also for the cause of justice, opportunity, and prosperity around the world. For us, transformation is not just a domestic agenda, it is a global vision. Before I conclude, I would like to briefly touch upon some of the critical challenges that confront us today. The first, as I have said on several earlier occasions, is terrorism. Friends, there was a time when India would talk about terrorism and it would be treated as a law and order issue on many global platforms. Today, no country, big or small, is immune from the existential threat, particularly terrorism actively supported and sponsored by states. In this digital age, the challenge is even greater, with a greater vulnerability to radicalization. As far back as 1996, India proposed a draft comprehensive convention on international terrorism. We call it CCIT at United Nations. It remains a draft to this day because we cannot agree on a common definition. Ensuring zero tolerance towards terrorism and also towards those who use it as an instrument of convenience is the need of the hour. Another challenge is the threat of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. This is one challenge that this dialogue will be discussing. Third, developing and underdeveloped nations are the worst victims of climate change, with neither the capacity nor the resources to meet the crisis. We have risen to meet the challenge. India, in partnership with France, launched the International Solar Alliance earlier this year with the participation of 120 countries. I see that in the course of the deliberations here, you will discuss these and many other challenges and opportunities facing the world. I wish you all success in the process and urge you to keep in mind at all times the guiding ideal is the world is one family, which finds its most succinct expression in our Sanskrit words, Sarve bhavantu sukhina, Sarve santu niramayaha, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukbhag bhavet, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. It means, may all be happy, may all be healthy, may all see what is good, may all be free from suffering. O God, give us peace, peace and peace. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
Thank you, madam. This was, I think, in a sense, the distillation of India's foreign policy in this very short 15 minutes, which the minister did for us, ending with, of course, India's vision of straddling differences, bringing differences together, the unique strength which India brings in the whole idea of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the one family that this world is. You laid out the 5 key pillars of India's foreign policy in very, very simple, succinct terms. I don't think anyone could have done this better. Thank you so much, madam, for being with us today. May I now ask Samir, madam, there's a special a side event which we'd like to do with you because you have been part of the Raisina Dialogue. We'd like to honor you today for being a part of this Raisina family, being the creator of this Raisina family. So Samir is coming with a small memento, a token to honor you.